the real reason to allow God in your life and allow yourself to be led by God, because God is your guide. Why would you not follow your guide? Like, if you have come into this world with a plan set in place with a divine leader, why would you ever be unsure? Because if God is leading you, what could ever stop you? You just have to do what God is guiding you to do. And like the thing, when you let God in your life and you do your work of healing, of releasing, letting go of the past, and moving forward in a better way for yourself, being a better version of yourself so that you can live, so that you're not going to ruin what's being brought into your life, where you're being brought to. You're going to be able to grow through that into, and that's why, the things we go through that seem hard, challenging, things we don't want to do, things we avoid, that God like keeps putting in our face and we keep facing again and again until we overcome it. We learn things from that. It's not just to suffer for the sake of suffering. We learn perseverance. We learn how strong we are, how fearless you can be when you realize that fear is not the enemy. Fear is just something to overcome like anything else. And because you have faced all these other challenges, you begin to realize how strong you are. You realize that, yes, I can handle that because I've done this, and I've been brought through here, and it worked out. And if I didn't have to worry then, why should I have to worry now? Just stay focused on what is in my control, and leave what is not out to God, because God's going to handle everything else. And when you have that deeper faith growing inside of you, it overcomes everything. When you get to that stage where you just don't question anything, everything happening around you, within you, before you is for you, is not to harm you. And even if you can't see all the pieces together to make that whole picture, because you're not going to know everything all at once. You wouldn't even be able to handle it. It would blow your fucking mind. You'd probably go crazy. If everything was in your face, that's why it's not. That's why it's subtle. That's why the nudges are subtle. That's why it's intuition. That's why it's a knowing. That's why it's an understanding. That's why it's a feeling, a whisper, a dream. It's because that's how you can receive it. You would lose your mind if stuff was just in your face and you woke up the next day and your life was completely different. Even if it's like all the stuff you asked for, you can't handle that. And that is why it's progressive, and that is why you have to grow with it and become in alignment with what you are asking for, what you are saying you want, who you are saying you are. And you should know who you are, because if you don't, that's the place to start. You are a divine being.